Okay.
By the way, just so you know, the Zoom recording sucked yesterday, but the recording in what you call it, the stream was awesome.
The content, you mean?
No, the stream that I captured separate from the Zoom video capture.
Okay. Yeah, we should talk about that. I think we are live, however. Hey, everybody. How is it going? We're just going to go and look around a little bit and see where this is streaming. We decided to use StreamYard today.
What?
Because StreamYard allows you to go out to 5 platforms. So I see on my personal Facebook, we are live. So that's cool. And then we should be live in the Art of Email Marketing as well.
I haven't gotten a prompt yet, but that doesn't mean that we're not live yet.
Yeah, let's take a look. Not seeing us live in the Art of Email Marketing, so that's fascinating. Let's see. We're going to see if we're live in 99 days. Hey, everybody. Welcome. We're going to be talking a little bit today about how to build a wildly profitable and responsive email list quickly using something you've probably seen, you've probably been involved with in one shape or form, and that's a fascinating little model called the Summit model. So that should be cool.
And we're also going to show how we overcome technical difficulties on the fly.
That's right.
And roll with the punches, so to speak.
That's true. So this is the first time we've been using Be Live for the last month or so. And let's see.
Under live comments, it says you are live in 99 days, but it does not say that we are live in the Art of Email Marketing.
Yeah, fascinating. So, sometimes that'll happen. I'll just go ahead and share it straight to the Art of Email Marketing as a watch party. And hopefully that'll help things
That'll work
a little bit. But
as you are live in 99 days, but it does not say that we are live in. You are not muted. Your tab is not muted.
Yeah. So it's just got a little screwed up. That's fine. No big deal. We will roll with the punches, and hopefully we'll see how this all processes through. I
see it came through as a watch party, so I opened that.
Yep. Very cool. All right.
Hopefully I'll be able to see any comments that people make on the watch party.
Yeah. And I actually saw a great live stream. Who's been live streaming a lot recently is Rich Sheffrin. And he did a really good live stream yesterday or last night maybe on mental models and some of the stuff that he had learned from Jay Abraham. And he's using a different service. I have it opened in one of my 1,000 open tabs at the moment. So there's so many good services that are out there. And I can see Mitch Russo. Hey, Mitch, good to see you. Martin Salter. Hey, Martin. Randy. Hey, Randy. Alvin, what's up? TG. Scott, good to see you all.
I can't see anybody, so.
Let's see. Where I'm seeing that is over. I don't know what the heck it was. I think it's on the. I'm looking at the watch party somewhere. I think I'm looking at the watch party that I started inside the Art of Email Marketing, and for whatever reason, I can see that. So that's kind of
cool. I'm seeing it. I'm there on the full page, and I've got the comments open, but it's not showing me any comments, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any comments either. If you guys are seeing this, we want to see if comments are going to push through or not to StreamYard. I know that all these different services have different requirements in terms of allowing people to access certain types of things. All right, well, Jeremiah chimed in, and he wrote in the watch party that the party has started. Thank you, Jeremiah. Hey, so guys, as we get rolling here, definitely let us know if you can see this, and we're going to see where comments do and don't come through in.
Okay, I see Jeremiah now in the comments, even though.
Do you see him in Facebook or in StreamYard?
Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a feeling that you're only going to see in StreamYard wherever you're directly streaming and not sharing as a watch party. So it says you're live in 99 days, and then some Facebook user in 99 days, I'm assuming, said you are.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Cool.
Jeremiah, for commenting. That helps us out, and as we roll with the systemization of a new system.
That is right. Awesome. All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump in and just talk for a little while about how there's so many different ways to launch a new business or a new business model for different personalities, different teams, different niches, different markets. But there's one model that I've used time and time again with a great deal of success, and that I've also trained thousands and thousands and thousands of students in before it became popularized. And that is what's now become known as the summit model. So we're going to talk a little bit about the summit model. If you have any questions as we go, I encourage and urge you to ask them. Go ahead and type them in the comments. We will do our best to answer them. Oh, that's Itai who is saying we are live in 99 days. Thank you, Itai. Yeah, it looks like it looks like we're doing a watch party for the art of email marketing. So that's cool. And then it's also on my personal Facebook. So we're going to talk here today about the summit model and how and why you can use the summit model in order to very quickly build a large and very connected, responsive email list, or whatever kind of list you want to build. I mean, if you wanted to build a list of cell phone numbers, you could build a list of cell phone numbers. And if you wanted to build a chatbot list, you could build a chatbot list. Email's still probably the single most common type of list that you can build. But before we do that, Joshua, how much involvement have you had in the summit model or being part of summits over the years?
Not a whole lot. Behind the scenes, a whole lot. I tend to, I see the value of them being particularly great for creating value for joint venture marketing and for affiliate marketing. And I've always been designing sales models and marketing models from the ground up, designed to sometimes utilize those and capitalize on them in terms of a leveraged standpoint of a big payday every now and again. But as a course of business, personally, I have not arranged them myself.
So yeah, they're a lot like doing a launch, right? They're a lot like doing a launch in that there's a lot of lead up, there's a lot of planning, and there's a lot of pressure for launch day. There's a lot of there's just a lot of pressure. There's a lot going on at the time of launch. Hey, Gene, good to see you. I think you commented on my personal feed there. So I think I see you there. That's fantastic. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a feeling though she's commenting in 99 days on your personal feed because it didn't come through on the watch party and email marketing.
Oh no, I think she's just commenting on my personal feed because that's one of the feeds that I push this out to, just my personal page. Yeah. So, all right, guys, we're going to talk about how the summit model here works in a second. To bring everybody up to speed, we are broadcasting today from StreamYard because it allows us to push out to 5 separate locations concurrently, and it allows for co-hosts. So you can see Joshua and I. There are some services. There's one service in particular, Restream, that goes out to 30 services, which I'm excited to use, but it does not currently have guest capability, so we couldn't do a split screen like that with restream. So for now, we're going to give StreamYard a try. And I just want to give a shout out to Patrick Powers. He kind of encouraged me to start playing around with StreamYard. He let me know about LinkedIn live streaming and how to apply for that. And I actually applied for it, but I haven't gotten a response yet. So that's pretty exciting. If you are live streaming and you haven't looked into LinkedIn live streaming, definitely do so. It's certainly going to be the biggest live streaming platform for professionals in the not too distant future, if it isn't already. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. So here's what happened. I just want to give you the backstory, essentially, of how I like to say that I discovered the summit model. I don't know that that's universally true. I know that people were using the concept in seminars way before I was around. So what happened? The whole model that we're talking about here is, let's say you're entering a new market, or you want to grow an email list, or you want to grow a following in a specific market. It could be to just grow your existing business, or it could be to enter a whole new industry, a whole new vertical, a whole new market, a whole new tribe of people, right? And so when you want to do that, I mean, you have to get your traffic from somewhere. You have to get your people from somewhere. And the question is, where are you going to get them from? And you might choose, YouTube, and you might choose Facebook, and you might choose Google, and you might decide you're going to become a guest blogger, and you might start a podcast, and you might do Facebook ads, and you might do Google ads, and you might do YouTube ads. And the list goes. You might do solo ads. You might do viral marketing, right? You might decide that you're going to publish 100 ebooks on Kindle. Like, there's a whole bunch of ways that you can get traffic. And if you've been a student of internet marketing for any amount of time, you've probably experienced the overwhelm of all the options, because there are more options than any one person or any one business could ever possibly take advantage of, right? And so for me, when I got started, I had actually ended up being a student of none other than Mr. Joshua Shafran here. And I had I was blessed with the opportunity to go through this program he had created called NPOD, Net Profits on Demand, at just the right time. Yeah, isn't all viral marketing when we're dealing with the virus? I had a funny one-liner about that a couple of weeks ago, like how to make your marketing more viral than COVID-19, something like that. I just don't think people are going to like it. So I had gone through NPOD, and I had done this big interview series. I designed this business model. It turned out to be my first $1 million business that I built after I went through Joshua's program. And this is in 2004. And I interviewed all these people, and I had this autoresponder sequence that was just slowly dripping emails on people and sending them to these audio stream interviews that would frequently sell like an ebook or something like that at the end. So that was called List Crusade. Joshua, do you remember all that?
I sure do. And something just came to mind that I wasn't thinking about, but in the early 90s, 1991 through 93, I actually worked for a national seminar company, traveling all over the place.
That's right.
Physically going there and putting butts in seats. And it was kind of similar to the summit model that you're referring to, in that there was segmented speakers on specific topics, and, continued on that way. So I guess I have experience from that point of view, but not in the way that you're doing it.
Yeah, well, there's so many different ways to do this. So it's very cool. We're going to talk about that here in a second. And all right, let's see. We have a couple of comments coming in here. Marcy says, I was literally thinking I hadn't seen anything from Tellman in a while. That was about an hour ago. Serendipity.
That's awesome.
Serendipity. What a great fictional character to send an email from, Marcy. Can I use that? I think I have used that before.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Serendipity. So
I love when that stuff happens too,
That's right. That's right. So I had gone through Joshua's system, and I had built my first like real sustainable internet business out of the blueprint that I drew up when I went through NPod. It's called List Crusade. And the idea of it was, I'm going to build an email list of 1 million subscribers in 6 months or less. And I'm going to interview all the world's experts on email marketing, on list building, and on personal development, so that all of us can benefit from getting our head straight and getting the right knowledge that we need to be effective email marketers, right? And so I'm going to do these interviews. I'm going to share them with you. I'm going to implement what everybody teaches me, and I'm going to report back with the results as I go, right? That was the idea of List Crusade. And then what happened was I got the business up to 10 grand a month. I recruited 6 guys, gave them each 10% of the money we earned. And they all had the skills that I didn't have. So in that way, I got a group of guys together for the business itself who had the skills that I didn't have, who had the resources that I didn't have, but I had a vision that they didn't have. And they all bought into it. They're all cool. I'm down. I'm game to play. And this is one of the key things I want you to think about in your business if you want to attract awesome strategic partners into your business in some way, shape, or form. So check it out, whether that's a super affiliate, whether that's a celebrity speaker, whether it's a employee or a team member with a super ninja skill that you need, but you don't have the time or money to learn, right? So I did it out of desperation. I had no money. I had no skill. I had no name recognition. I was working my ass off in my hypnosis practice, as well as working night shift at the bread company while I was trying to put this crap together, and working out of my bedroom, shared bedroom in my apartment where I had 3 roommates, right? And so, like, I had to figure out how to do it. I didn't have cash. So I recruited 6 guys to essentially work for me on the promise of a percentage of something in the future. But my idea was clear enough. And you know why my idea was clear, Joshua? My idea was clear because I went through NPod and I had my freaking business mapped more clearly than they had their businesses mapped. So when I talked to them about the concept, they were like, oh my God, you figured this out. I've been trying to figure this out for a long time. Let's do it. Let's all get together and play ball, right? And so
that's cool.
So we started List Crusade, and I got the business up to 10 grand a month, right? I got up to 10 grand a month in recurring, consistent income. The list was growing every day. We were implementing as many of the strategies and the techniques that I learned in the interview series as I possibly could, given the size of the staff and our skill and everything else. And once we got up to 10 grand a month, basically there were 7 of us, so we each got paid $1,000 a month. And then the remaining $3,000 went into growth of the company. And we were struggling, and we got it going. We got it making money, but it was bumping along. We weren't quite there yet. And then I actually took Teleseminar Secrets with Alex Mandozian. And he had just released the very first How to Do Teleseminars course. And for those of you who are like, what the heck is a teleseminar? A teleseminar is a technology from an age long, long ago, where you picked up a telephone. It was before the age of streaming video. And it was basically
it's the same stuff. It's just, I mean, it's a way of delivering a message, just like we're doing right now with a live stream. This is the updated version of it with video and that you couldn't do back then because the technology wasn't strong enough to be able to make that happen.
Yeah. So we were doing it with our phones, right? And that was the case for a long time. It was actually in some ways way easier because there were fewer tech problems. I'm really thinking about doing a teleseminar series. I asked everybody a while ago in the group if they wanted me to do a retro email marketing seminar, and I didn't end up doing it. I think because Corona hit or something. But maybe now's the time. At any rate, I might have to get my landline turned back on.
I mean, podcasts are still as popular as ever. So audio is still a very viable means of communication.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what happened was I needed more traffic. I wanted my list to grow faster and I wanted to make more money, and I wasn't sure how to do it. And so I learned how to do teleseminars from Alex. He launched the course. He did a product launch, formula style launch, and thank you, Jeff Walker. And he rolled it out, sold it with teleseminars, and he had been figuring out how to do successful teleseminars, and he was at the cutting edge of who had teleseminars figured out more than anybody else in the world. And he launched the first course on it. So I took the course and I implemented it like a madman. Okay, I think it was a 12-week course, and I just went to town, which was really nice. And I had recently come off going through Joshua's NPOD program, so I'd kind of trained myself how to have the self-discipline to go through a course and execute it, on my own.
And you had the foundation built that you could now leverage. I mean, it wasn't like you were starting from scratch to build the engine,
right?
To use with, so that's really, people want to put, like a business model in a box. And the point is that once you understand the principles involved, you can scale it. And it's not like one is different than the other. It's that you can use one as a springboard to do other things, especially if it's not just a typical funnel that is only designed to work in one way, in one medium. Then you've got a problem, because,
right.
When that stops working, you got to reinvent the whole damn model again.
Right. So I already had subscribers that were coming in every day. I already had money that was being made every day. I already had people who wanted more of my attention. And so what happened was I started doing these teleseminars. I didn't realize it at first, but who do you think I went to do teleseminars? I went to the 80 people that I had already interviewed for List Crusade and was like, yo, do you have a stage presentation or a teleseminar presentation that you do and that works well, that people like, and that sells well? Do you have a $500, $1,000, $2,000 product that you can sell from these kinds of presentations? And some people had never done teleseminars before, but they were really good at stage sales, and sometimes they crushed it. Sometimes people had done sales from stage really well before and did a teleseminar and they bombed. Sometimes, there's a wide range, because most people weren't doing teleseminars at the time. And so I had this massive, I had a stable of joint venture partners who had all promoted List Crusade and who I was making money, who I was driving sales for every single day through all they have to do is log in and look at their shopping cart, and they could see that I was consistently dropping sales on them every single day.
Hey, can I just point out something that just popped into my mind about this whole model?
Yeah.
I call it NPOD or NPOD arbitrage, right? And you used arbitrage in two different ways.
Right.
You did it with the people because you had a certain knowledge skills, and so you were able to attract by the vision. But you also did it because the subscribers and the list that you built, they were on other people's lists, and the
right.
same people that you were selling all of their products, and then went back to them to sell all their products again. And yet, for some reason, like no mystery, but let's just pretend it's a mystery, they responded. The arbitrage was there when it came from you, even though the crossover, the list was all the same stuff, and that the person that was the star of the product or whatever that you were promoting in the teleseminar, they then would be able to, in theory, do it themselves to their own list, and should, but because of the responsiveness, because of the community that you built and the way that you built it, they responded to you versus anybody else. And, so it's like the same subscriber, but you have an arbitrage opportunity there as well.
So here's the thing. You're right. You're absolutely right. But there's one little piece that you have to get right. Otherwise this won't work. And that little piece is you have to be good at throwing a party. Okay. You have to be good at thinking about the 100 other people and what they're going to be doing, all the tasks that are happening concurrently. You can't be the kind of person that's going to freeze up like deer in the headlights when the pressure's on. Like, you need to be the kind of person that like, the higher the pressure, the more fun the game, right? Like otherwise you're just going to break and you're going to hate yourself. And when things inevitably mess up, which they do, then you'll be paralyzed. So if you're high intensity, high stress, high pressure, or you are just like a ADD frenetic kind of person that likes having 25 balls in the air at once, then this could be a good model for you. But if you're not that kind of person, not so much fun.
You can also partner with people and you can be the stage presence that you just wind. I mean, because I did that with Nitro all the time.
Totally.
You know, Kevin and Matt would set it up and they'd, in effect, interview me and we would promote. I mean, we've done hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales that way.
Yeah, exactly. You absolutely can find other people on your team to do the elements if they're good, if they know what they're doing, and or they're smart enough and reliable enough to figure it out, and you don't have to hold their hand the whole way, right?
Right.
So what happened was I started doing these teleseminars with people, and I was doing teleseminars with guys like Mark Joyner and Jay Abraham, and of course Kevin and Matt from Nitro. Usually Matt, right? And we did several teleseminars, did a crap load of them with Dan Kushel, did teleseminars with Joe Polish and Dean Jackson and all those guys, with Eben Pagan and with Kern and with Jeff Walker. And what happened is I would make it really fun. And so one of the ones that I did, this actually didn't make a lot of money, but people still talk about it, was Marketer's Deathmatch. And this was a spoof on an MTV show from when I was in high school and into college, called Celebrity Deathmatch. And it was a claymation comedy show on MTV where you'd have like Michael Jackson versus George Bush, and they would completely annihilate each other and their clay bodies would be splattered across the wrestling ring or whatever. It was very funny. Yeah. And very gory. And so Marketer's Deathmatch had like chainsaws in the background and like the sound of a chair like breaking and occasionally like chopping wood or like a duck quacking, things like this. It was very, very funny. Point is that I kept on innovating with teleseminars and kept on doing really interesting and funny things. This is at a time where no one emailed their list every day, and I was emailing my list every day, the craziest, weirdest emails I could possibly come up with to keep them entertained and engaged. And the combination of all those things caused a whole bunch of people with email lists to promote to my opt-in page to build my email list. And then I was just doing a webinar every single week. And did that for a while until I realized that I could do a webinar series over the course of however many weeks, or a teleseminar series over a certain number of days or a certain number of weeks, and I could get everybody to promote me all at once. And so then you come up with a theme. You come up with a similar to a conference. If you're going to have a conference, you want to have a theme that people are all going to dig. So you might have a conference all about traffic. Right? One of the biggest internet marketing conferences, if not the biggest, no, it's not the biggest, but one of the biggest internet marketing conferences in the world is Traffic and Conversion, right? The Traffic and Conversion Summit, actually is what they call it now, right? There's conferences just on chatbots. I mean, there's conferences on every topic you can imagine, but especially right now, virtual conferences are where it's at. All the big conferences are forced right now to be moving into a virtual conference environment. And if you are the organizer, if you put together something that's cool and you bring together a genuinely cool roster of speakers for a reason, now all of a sudden everybody has a reason to promote it. You build a list very, very, very quickly. You have a bunch of content that's created in a compressed amount of time. Usually, depending on the kind of summit and the model you're running, I would recommend that you sell stuff at the end of most of those presentations. And so now you have an income source, and you may even build an entire funnel of products that you sell after the opt-in for the teleseminar series, webinar series, Facebook Live video series, podcast series, or whatever your series or summit is going to be. right? That is kind of like the long and short of this idea. Now, if you guys have any questions, please let us know. If you're seeing this, please write something in the comments. We're using StreamYard today, and we're pushing out to 4 or 5 different locations, seeing how well this works in comparison to Be Live. And so interaction would be really helpful today in particular, just so that we know and can see, what is and isn't going to get posted back to StreamYard. I think, Joshua, that there's some way to give people a link where they can like authenticate something or something so that we can see their name if they make a comment.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with BeLive, that you can do that too backwards. But the problem is that the watch party doesn't coincide with the actual live stream in 99 days.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's okay. Maybe we'll have to come back and answer some of these a little bit later. So the long and short of it, guys, is that I ended up creating this course years ago called the Perpetual Marketing Machine that specifically taught people how to build teleseminar summits. And we sold that for $4,000. We sold thousands and thousands and thousands of copies of it. It was awesome. Gene says robot chicken. Nice, Gene.
Yeah. When you were talking about the funky, yeah, that's
right. That's funny. So guys, if you're trying to figure out how to build your list, how to build your following, there are so many different ways to do it, depending on what market you're in, what business you're in, your personality, what you're actually looking to accomplish, and perhaps the summit model is something that is appealing to you. It's a manual form of traffic. It's free in a way. You don't have to pay money out of pocket to get the traffic. Often it will be affiliate traffic. And if you're unable or unwilling to invest money in your traffic at this point, then the summit model is a wonderful way of investing time, especially if you're a connector, if you're a networker, if you don't have a problem introducing yourself to people and saying hi, and don't mind a little bit of rejection when people say no, and you're not going to get all, lose sleep over it for 3 nights just because somebody turns you down. Then the summit model is a pretty powerful way to go. And if you're stuck in a situation where you're not really sure what market to go into, or you're stuck in a situation where you're not really sure what your source of traffic should be for your business, if you don't have as many new leads coming in every day as you want, if you're not generating the sales every day that you want from your email list, or if you don't even have an email list, but you've been putting it off for a while, it's critical to build one, then now's the time. It is a really, really wonderful time. Great place. People are at home. You can do summits in Facebook groups. There's so many different platforms that you can build summits around now. It's absolutely incredible. But if you're looking for assistance, if you'd like some guidance, if you'd like some help to build something that'll really work and really last, then just go ahead and type help into the comments below and shoot me a private message, and we'll chat a little bit back and forth, see what's going on. If it makes sense, we'll get on the phone and I will guide you in the best possible direction that I possibly can if you want to talk about what that might look like for you. So, Joshua, do you have any other thoughts, any other pieces to the puzzle here you'd like to add?
No, I think it's an excellent way to get in the game if you're not confident about being the guru or the expert. It's an excellent way to become that and to make money simultaneous to that, build traffic simultaneous to that. It's the same, when you get right down to the what makes an online business model work, it's only three basic things, and everything else is a permutation of that. There's traffic, there's conversion of that traffic, i.e. marketing, and then there's the actual fulfillment. What are you selling? And everything stems from that. And this is an excellent way that you can become the expert, if you will, by interviewing the experts. And an interesting thing happens. I call it the pent-up product, or the pent-up demand, is that you can make loads of money like Telman did, not being the expert, but setting it all up and leveraging the knowledge properly. And then by the time you're through that process, you're perceived as an expert, and actually you become the expert, assuming that you're working in the area that you're really interested in getting better at, which Telman was. And so now there's all this literally pent up demand where people are eager to hear something specifically from Telman on his, his summit secrets, or his list building club, or whatever they're like eager to get his insights and his approach to it. And so now all of that's been built up. And the reason why I call it pent up is like a pressure cooker. When you finally pop the lid and you feel confident enough to put something together and that you're an expert, not only have you been making money all the way along the way as the organizer of it all, so to speak, as the arbitration, not arbitration, arbitrage. That's what I'm trying to say.
Arbitragization.
Yeah, but you're also now you've got like this pressure building for whenever you want to release the pressure valve, and it goes through the product sales of whatever it is, because you've now built this really engaged following that just can't wait to hear from you. Can't wait to be a part of that with you. So I think it's an excellent way to get in the game, even if you are brand new newbie. It removes all the excuses, other than, do you need help setting up the basic fundamentals? Then, or you got to be willing to implement something along these lines so that you can then, snatch up your balls, so to speak, and approach people that are the experts to interview them. And then you find out all of a sudden, now Telman in the beginning got a ton of no's. So what'd you get, like 60 something?
Oh yeah, I released a video and a special report about it. It's called 63 no's in a row. It sucked. Yeah, it was learned a lot of good stuff through that.
Yeah. But he stuck with it, and every time he got a no, he figured out like how to overcome that particular no or a piece of it, and then he refined it. And by the time he got to the 64th one, he got a yes. And eventually he also got Jay Abraham, by the way, which he never would have gotten.
I'll mention, so that's actually pretty sweet. So I'll mention that stuff here in just a second. Let's see. So Wally, I see your comment. You say, I'm a newbie. How do I build an email list? Cool. Great question, Wally. The first thing I would definitely do is rewatch this whole live stream in a few minutes after it's done, because we just spent some time chatting about that. The second thing is like the last 40 minutes talking about that. Really, there are a lot of different ways to build an email list. The real question is, how do I build a business that will make me the kind of money that I want to make? And email is often very involved with that, right? Because an email list isn't going to do you any good if it's a random email list of random people who you don't know anything about, nor do you know what they want to buy, right? So
I'd also recommend that he apply for the Art of Email Marketing group, because we have a ton of resources. We've done probably 50 or 60 in-depth live streams on basically that. Different aspects of that it's a wealth of value there. Anyway, I'm sorry if I interrupted your flow there, Tel.
Yeah. So Wally, I'm going to give you a link in a minute to the Art of Email Marketing group. And Marcy, I'm seeing your comments as well. So First of all, if you need help or want help and or want to talk about working with us, then I just dropped a link into the comments. That is an online business assessment that Joshua put together. You can go and fill that out, get a read of where you're at with your business, give us a read of where you're at with your business and your experience, and then book a call, and we'll get on the phone and we'll talk it through and see what does or doesn't make sense.
Let me just add one little twisted portion to that. The purpose of the assessment is to see where you're at and to take an inventory, and we will then be able to review that. And if it makes sense, then we can invite you to have an in-depth blueprinting conversation based around what that assessment has shown you and what you're looking to accomplish with it. And then we can see, if there's something, like if we're the people to help you with it or not. But it's kind of a two-step approach. So I would encourage everybody, frankly, to take an inventory by just doing the assessment. And that's not a booking a conversation with us right there. That's an invitation for us to, check out, and it submits the assessment to us, and you get a feel for what's going on. And then we can, see if it makes sense to continue the conversation after that.
That's right. Wally, I just dropped a link to the Art of Email Marketing in the comments, so hopefully you'll be able to see that. And Marcy says, scared of money, fear of success, scattered ideas. Or she says, me, scared of money, fear of success, scattered ideas. She says, as a graphics person who muddles along, an artist, I have no idea what my thing should be other than graphics, like packages of backgrounds, etc. Yeah, Marcy, that's understandable. As a individual business owner who probably does all of the selling for her business and all of the fulfillment, it is often very hard to start thinking outside of that box if you're trying to create a business that isn't reliant on your time. Right now, you're trading your time for money, whether you're on retainer with clients, whether you're selling packages based on, an estimated amount of time that it'll take to do it, or whatever, or whether you're just charging people hourly, you're selling your time for money. And the trick is to stop thinking about yourself. And I know that sounds very like in your face, and I don't mean it to be like, oh, you're totally egotistical or something. What I'm saying is we're all totally egotistical. I'm probably at the top of the heap, and with the overinflated size of my own ego. And so the idea is that it's not about what you currently know how to provide, though that might be the answer. The real question is, who's your perfect customer, right? Who is your group of perfect customers? Who is your tribe of perfect customers and clients, and what do they desperately want? And now it's your job as an artist and a creator to solve that problem and to create it and to put your creative juices into solving the problems of your perfect clients, right? That's how artists become entrepreneurs, in my experience. But if you'd like help, if you're serious, if you want to break free from the grind of selling your time for with graphics packages, and you want to build a serious business with some leverage, so you can start generating money based on the quality and the size of your thoughts instead of the amount of hours that you put in, then we would love to chat with you about that. You can absolutely go on over to the link that we just dropped in the comments, or you can send me a private message about it too, and we can chat there a little bit. Ruben, the ostrich is squatted. That's what I'm talking about. How's it going, dude? Good to see you. I'm
assuming that means that the ostrich no longer is burying the head because it's squatting down so that it can peek up. Or what does that mean?
It really, it's unclear what that means. At one point, I think I landed at an airport, maybe in Texas, or I was going to a conference. Matt Gill was there. This is a Matt Gill reference, not surprisingly. And someone shot a funny picture of me, like while I was walking across the road or something.
Oh,
And so I took it, and I think I texted the picture. I think maybe like freaking Jonathan Mizell might have taken the picture, and I sent, instead of the eagle has landed, I sent the picture to Matt Gill and said the ostrich has squatted, and then eventually that picture, I don't know if I did it or somebody else did it, but it got memed, and so it says
oh, no kidding.
TOHS, # TOHS, and every now and again it pops up on Facebook, and I think Ruben was in on that joke at some point somehow.
Got it. I obviously was not.
Awesome. Yeah. Marcy says, I'm too slow. I don't take clients anymore. It did not work out financially. I don't really know how to connect with people. So I guess the question is, what do you actually want, Marcy? Right? Like, saying that you're too slow probably isn't going to be a very good mantra for you to be repeating over and over again when you're thinking about building a business. So if your general attitude is you're too slow and or if you don't want to put the work in, and maybe I'm misreading your tone, but this is for anybody. If you're not a hard worker and you're not fired up about building the business of your dreams, definitely don't fill out that form. Because I the only types of people that I ever work with are A, people who work their freaking ass off, and B, people who are fired up and excited to create something new and incredible in their lives. And if you kind of have a Debbie Downer kind of attitude, or you genuinely just don't want to do it, or you don't.
I'm wondering if the I am too slow is the reference to why she doesn't take on clients in her graphic design business, that it takes her too long to produce for them. But my question would be there. I mean, I fully support everything that you just said, Telman, and agree, 100% with you. My question would be for Marcy is, if you're not taking on clients and you're a graphic designer, I mean, how are you making your money currently? So what is it that you're doing that that you need to transition into an online business to shift online?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. Hey, Manju, good to see you. Manju. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I sure am. So let me see. Cool. Well, I think we're going to wrap up in a few minutes, but before we wrap fully, I would like to just ask if you guys have any questions that you'd like answered. We'll do our best to answer them today, and if they're too big, we'll answer them in a future live stream. So please let us know. What are your questions? How can we serve you? Where are you stuck in the starting or the growth of your business? And what would be the greatest deal of help to you right now?
Yep.
That is the question. And if we've covered everything, then rock and roll. And let's see.
I'm stuck because we need to get this technology wired in for, on firing on all cylinders now.
That's right. Awesome. All right. Well, I mean, Marcy says not. I am stalled. I know what I should be doing, but I have massive indecision issues. And yes, what Josh said about too slow for what I was charging. Got it. So Marcy, one of the people that I interviewed early on in my interview series was the legendary Dr. Joe Vitale, aka Mr. Fire. Joe's awesome, by the way. He taught me a simple idea, and it stuck. And it is that success loves speed. Okay? Success loves speed and is repelled by indecision.
And I would even venture to say that you're not indecisive. You're just afraid to say no. And it's because it's either hell yes or it's hell no. And
That's
if it's not hell yes, it's automatically a hell no.
That's right.
And so don't kid yourself that it's a maybe or I don't know what to do. Just say no, it's a no. And until I can say hell yes, this is what I'm doing, then own the fact that it's a no. And then
no FOMO.
I mean, own the fact that it's a no on any subject, really, because what that's telling you is if you're indecisive, it really is a no. And so rather than kid yourself that, well, if I did this or did that, that becomes an excuse to stay in that stuck zone of indecision.
It does. It does. So I guess the question I would ask, is there anyone else that is watching right now that has indecisiveness issues or feels like they aren't able to just make a choice and move forward? Is that a common problem that you guys are facing? I know it's a common problem among humans. And I also know it's a common problem among entrepreneurs, which are people who want to be entrepreneurs, but are not willing to pull the trigger. And the good news is that you are in charge of changing that and that you can if you want to. That's the good news. The bad news is it's going to mean you're going to need to learn how to be really uncomfortable, feel really awkward, feel really dumb, get really rejected at times, and move through that and come out the other side as a stronger person. Otherwise, most of the time that fear of making a decision comes from, for most people, it comes from fear of being criticized, fear of looking stupid, fear of appearing incompetent. I already know that I look stupid, appear incompetent a lot of the time. And
I'll let you know a little secret. Talman gets off on being perceived that way. That's what drives him. I mean, it's a big piece of, tell him that he can't do something that he, and he'll figure out, oh, that'll just spark him on to figure it out. And
sure. It's a trait, and it's also a character flaw.
Well, I mean, it can work for you and it can also work against you. But if you're aware of it, then you can leverage it in the right direction and also try to minimize it when you're starting to see that it's working against you.
That's right. That's right. Marcy says that she has a hard time choosing one path. So many ideas. I strongly feel like I would miss out. Understandable. She also said, my issues are super deep. I've been trying to work on my relationship with money. So, yeah. So, Marcy, I'm not saying that you shouldn't address your issues, but you shouldn't let your issues prevent you from building your business. Okay. So if you want to do therapy, or you want to get involved in abundant spirituality programs, or you want to use hypnosis in order to fix your money mindset, that's great. Whatever your thing is that you're doing in order to improve your money mindset, cool, do it. It'll make you better in some way, shape, or form, most likely. But the biggest thing that you can do is take a step forward, is do the thing that you're afraid of doing anyway. That's it. Of course, you're going to miss out on most of the stuff. Everyone misses out on almost everything that happens in the entire world. Every human being that has ever breathed has this experience their entire life. We're all missing out on almost all of it all the time. That's true.
And you're missing out on double by staying in that place of not deciding, of indecision. So, I mean, because you're never nowhere.
Yeah.
I think Jim Rohn said it best, where, either you're a meaningful specific or a wandering generality, and, you're never nowhere if you're a wandering generality.
That's right.
And just one thing that I'd like to, Marcy, to chew on and just sit with for a minute. When you say my issues are super deep, I have been trying to work on them, my relationship with money. I've been trying to work on my relationship with money. And that could very well be. But every time you state my issues are super deep, what you're reconfirming is that it's going to take a long time, that this, and it becomes the reason why you're indecisive. It becomes the reason why you're staying in the same situation and reliving it again and again and again. And working on issues to actually release them is not the same thing as reliving them. And we often trick ourselves into believing that reliving it, regurgitating them, stating them again and again and again is in fact helping us. Like, for the most part, going to a peer support group where you sit around and you talk about your problems, it doesn't work, because what you're doing is you're reliving it in the telling. You are not letting go of it. You're not letting it go on its own way. So as you're saying it, I can almost feel the heaviness when you say, I have a hard time choosing one path. My issues are super deep, which presupposes to me that you have this theory that I used to have myself, that it's going to take forever, and that it's going, like, I can only do it it's an onion, and I can only peel back one layer of that onion at a time. Then I'm going to hit the next level, and it's going to take a super long time, but I'll work on it. I'm working on it. And every time I reconfirm that, it didn't provide the option for me to say, hey, all of that might be true. And if I can acknowledge that it's there and not have it mean anything about me, then I can still go on and do what I want to do anyway, or try something anyway. And so I'm just reading what you wrote. I actually never talk about these things, only posting here for your clarity. Oh no, I never even talk about it with my hub. Okay. But it doesn't matter whether you're vocalizing it. Obviously, it's in your heart. It's in your soul. Your music spouts it more loudly than your words ever will, and your thought process is reflecting it. So even if you're never saying it, your energy is reflecting it, and your music is speaking much, much more loudly, and the universe is going to respond to that music. That indecision is your music. That feeling of my issues are super deep is your music. And all I'm saying is that, perhaps you'd be served by just taking a look at that, and could you acknowledge that that might be the case, and that every time you feel that, even just feel that feeling of, this is super deep. I don't talk about it with my hubby. I'm just I internalize it. But if you could just allow yourself to acknowledge it, not judge yourself on it, not, just allow it to be what it is, be present, and acknowledge that it's there, and let it do whatever it's going to do. Almost think of it as outside yourself. Like, yeah, I have those feelings. Yeah, I have that thought. And allow yourself, from like an outside perspective, to observe it and just let it do whatever it wants to do. And I bet you'll be surprised at how much better you'll feel, because you're no longer fighting with that feeling anymore. You're no longer making that feeling wrong. You're no longer making yourself wrong for, feeling these ways. You're no longer, all of the permutations that those things, take. You can then just let it be whatever it is. It doesn't change the situation, but it changes your automatic reaction to the situation, to the energy. Because it's not the feelings that are the problem for you. It's your reaction to those feelings. It's your feelings to the feelings that is your issue, that's keeping you in that cycle.
That's right. That's right.
The esoteric class has been dismissed.
That's right. That's right. The feelings of the feelings, getting a little meta. But in all seriousness, this is really, really good stuff. Marcy, the biggest thing that I would just say is, like, honestly, stop making excuses and, like, do it if you're going to do it. And if you're not, just don't do something else. Like, but don't.
Be all right with that. Be all right. Just
like, if you don't want to build a wildly successful internet business, don't, like, go play music in the lawn instead, which is cool. It's probably, in many ways much more fulfilling.
And if you don't believe that you're capable or deserving of building a successful internet business, acknowledge that and let that be, the feeling that you're letting it be whatever it is, and stop judging yourself for that. And then when you can let it go without judgment, without pushback against it, then you have a choice at that point, whether you can let it go on its own way or whether you're going to keep it in your presence or not. And then it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. And that's the shift from hell no to, yeah, let me do this. I can't wait to get at this.
That's right.
And it can change in a heartbeat.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, if you, what do you have? Tillman, what do you have against playing music in the lawn? I do that all the time. Yes, I know. I have nothing against playing music in the lawn. As a matter of fact, you could build your business playing music in the lawn.
Is that Itai that said that?
Matter of fact, that's exactly what you're doing. Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, yeah, stop beating yourself up over it. If you're not going to start a freaking business, then like do something else instead.
It's the only chance, in my opinion, that you have of actually truly releasing it and stop reliving the same energy patterns.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that goes back to the anxiety compass, right? If it makes you nervous, if it's not an oncoming car, okay, if it makes you nervous, chances are pretty good that that's exactly the direction you should be going, and you should be running, not walking in that direction, right? Running barefoot over broken glass. I actually got some freaking broken glass caught in my heel because I decided to go running. Oh, you want to hear something funny?
No, I hate funny.
All right. So Marcy, your decision will definitely be wrong. You no longer need to be afraid because you're going to have to make so many decisions that are wrong in order to get this figured out that there's going to be an enormous amount of course correction along the way. So your decision you're not going to have one wrong decision. You're going to have tens of thousands of wrong decisions. So you no longer have to be afraid of that. That's going to be very common as an entrepreneur and business owner. You're going to screw it up all the time. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. So
if you're not screwing it up, then you're not stepping outside into things that you haven't ever done before. Right. How can you possibly do something successfully that you've never done before without having it's a zigzag line. Success is never a straight line unless you've been there before. If you've been there before,
it's still often not a straight line, right?
Right. But yeah. I mean, that's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to get to a place you've never been before. So give yourself a break and do the course corrections along the way and realize that you're going to be off 99% of the time. But if you're taking the course corrections and I call it the WMN compass, what's working, what's missing, what's next, in relationship to where it is that you want to go that you haven't been to yet, then you can tic-tac. And the secret is that you stop spinning around and tic-tacking and doing all the stuff, but it's never getting you any closer to that place that you want to be.
As an artist, Marcy, I think you probably already know this, right? I'm going to pretend that you're a painter. I don't know if you are, but I'm sure you can modify. So like, how long? Well, I mean, you're a graphic designer. I'll just go with that. How long did it take you to become a masterful graphic designer? Okay, you may not even be masterful yet. I don't know. But how many years have you been practicing graphic design and or art for that matter, right? Do you not try to put the first stroke of the brush and the paint on the canvas because you're afraid that you might be putting the paint in the wrong spot? No. You course correct over time. You realize you can paint over the stuff that you screw up. And if worst case scenario, you can burn that painting to the ground and start all over again. Same thing in business. If you screw it up, try again. Try again. You're going to spend years building the skills that you need in order to be a highly effective anything. If you want to be a highly effective entrepreneur, years of skills. If you want to be a highly effective internet marketer, years of skills. If you want to be a highly effective copywriter, years of skills. But it all starts today, right? It starts with starting to build those skills today. And yeah, that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Maybe I already told you the story. Did I tell you the story about how the person freaked out that I was running barefoot?
No.
So I normally run barefoot. But since COVID hit, I've been like running with shoes on the off chance that maybe that'll somehow protect me or something. And I decided to run barefoot for the first time this season. Almost the first time since the snow melted, and I was out running, and I realized that I was running past the local hospital. I was like, "Oh, that was dumb." But I was running with Itai actually, and I was telling Itai, I was like, "Itai, people freak out when they see you running barefoot." And we had just run by a mother with 2 young kids. She was walking along the sidewalk, and the kids were, 3 and 4 years old, and their eyes were wide open looking at me as they're trying to process the fact that I was running barefoot on the street. And the mom was like scowling at me from across the street. I'm very used to this experience. I'm often yelled at from cars that are driving by because people are so emotionally aroused when they see you running barefoot. Most people, it's out of fear, right? It's like they can't imagine doing that. They think of like nails going through your foot or whatever, and they freak out. So I'm telling this story to Itai, and Itai was surprised by the story. And right as I was telling them the story, and I told them the story about how I just realized I was running barefoot by the hospital, and that might be a little dumb. This woman walks out of the hospital with her mask on, across the street, like she's like, ah! She pulls her mask down. She's like, "You're running barefoot. How is that even possible?" And then she put the mask back on.
That's hilarious.
I was just dying because I realized that running barefoot already freaks people out and catches people's attention and kind of gets a little bit of adrenaline
for sure.
But then running by the hospital during COVID barefoot, it was just, I was telling Itai about it, and the woman walks out. It was completely synchronous.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I remember the reaction that I had, not at the barefoot part of it, but I remember when you showed me, I think it was on Necker Island, when those little, like, they're not shoes, but they got the toes in them.
Vibram 5 fingers. Yeah. The toe shoes.
And I looked at that and I'm like, that creeped me out because it just, it put it for real, like on how much of a pounding. Now I have flat feet and I have a disc issue as a result of the flat feet. So my thought of like if I don't have my shoes just right, my arches and it's like the thought of running barefoot for me sends off a very visceral thing in my mind and in my, I relive the pain, and I'm definitely not releasing it.
That's right. Awesome. You do need to pick a path, Marcy. Exactly which path that should be first, I don't know. If you just want to pick a path, you absolutely should. If you genuinely want some help from someone that's guided people down the correct path before, we would be happy to talk to you. If you click on the link that I popped into the comments, fill out the assessment so that you can get clear on where you're at in your own head before we get on the phone, and so that we have some of our questions answered about who you are and where you're coming from, so that we can really, really get into it with you in terms of figuring out what it is you're going to build and what it is you're going to focus on next.
Because it's not a cookie cutter path, right? I mean, it needs to be adapted for each person so that it fits for you, so that you build the business that you want. And, that may be something that we personally, Telman and I, can help you with, and it may not be. But the worst thing that I can see that I would not recommend is don't pick a path that everybody's saying, do this way because this is what's working right now.
Right.
Well, it may be working right now, but it's working for them in their situation, under their circumstances, towards what they're looking to accomplish. That may or may not have applicability to you personally. And you're the only one that can decide that. And that's really in the purpose of this assessment, is to begin that conversation so that we can see where you're at, where you want to go, and help you start to get some clarity on that. And then, if it makes sense, we do what I call a blueprinting conversation, which is actually mapping it out. Now, of course, we have a selfish motive in mind this is how we get our clients, right? but it's no obligation because very few people meet the right criteria from their standpoint and from ours. So we do this as a service so that everybody walks away with a enhanced value to their life, regardless of whether it makes sense or doesn't make sense to proceed forward with us with what we're looking to do with how we operate or not. But I can promise you this, you'll walk away even from the assessment with new insights that you didn't think about before.
That's right.
And new questions that you can start to answer to see where you want to go, what's important to you, what's not important, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree wholeheartedly. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap. It was really great talking with you all today, and thanks for bearing with us as we're playing around with StreamYard. I'm going to try like every platform out there, I think, and just find out what works well.
Cool.
I thought this was pretty good.
Something to consider, Telman, is that you can use Zoom and push to. I mean, Zoom gives you the custom thing, so you can get a service that will push to multiple sources from Zoom. Mm-hmm. So if you're already comfortable there, and then we can do, you can get an intermediary that works as a cloud, and it doesn't have to be the same thing, because now you've got, with Zoom, you can do it. You can have 100 people in a meeting room.
That's right.
Accordingly. So
cool. All right, everybody. Joshua, thank you as always.
Thank you.
We'll talk to y'all soon. Over now. Later.